Conflicts between adventurers in Carding City are common, but rarely result in death, since grudges don't usually run deep. The city guards only intervene if caught in the act, considering personal feuds not worth their concern. Alan has faced death before, but the proximity of it still fills him with fear. He feels a sharp sting on his neck, the pain spreading through his body. His neck is about to be slit open, and even if a water-type arcane mage were present, it wouldn't help. Suddenly, a strong whirlwind rises between Alan and his attacker, Arlo, targeting Arlo specifically. Dust swirls in the air. Arlo hesitates, intending to continue his attack, but his hand no longer obeys him. A cold sensation spreads through his arm. Looking down, he sees his hand and dagger encased in ice, the crystals transparent and immovable. Without wasting time, Alan pushes Arlo away and puts distance between them. He immediately realizes a high-level arcane mage must have intervened. Searching around, he spots a veiled woman, her face hidden but her water-like eyes hinting at beauty. Her presence captivates Alan for a moment before he remembers he's still in danger. Arlo, busy breaking the ice with his key, can't attack immediately. Alan, relieved, turns to the captain, who had been fighting two others and is now coming to assist. The captain assesses the situation coldly, locking eyes with Arlo. Despite being a junior-level warrior, the captain seems unfazed by Arlo's mid-level strength. Alan intends to thank the woman who saved him, but she has already disappeared into the crowd. Feeling regret, he returns to the fight, casting Windblade and Whirlwind spells while keeping an eye on the captain. The pressure on Baldy and Dan eases with Alan's arcane support. Their adversaries hadn't expected an arcane mage and were caught off guard by the relentless barrage of attacks. They begin to retreat in disarray. Meanwhile, Arlo misinterprets the situation, assuming Alan used a high-level arcane scroll to freeze his hand. Though outnumbered, Alan's continuous casting forces the adventurers on the defensive. Baldy, Dan, and Red quickly gain the upper hand, and the situation stabilizes. But the real battle is between the captain and Arlo, who shakes off the ice and charges at the captain with his dagger. The captain dodges and counters with a chi-infused sword thrust. Arlo retreats, gathering his own chi before rushing forward, his dagger aiming for the captain's heart. The captain raises his sword to block, but Arlo's chi overpowers him, forcing him back and making him cough up blood. "You're just a third-tier junior warrior," Arlo sneers, confident in the gap between their strengths. Despite the captain's experience, he can't match Arlo's speed and power. But the captain, undeterred, readies himself for another attack. Arlo continues his assault, his movements erratic and disorienting. But the captain remains focused, raising his sword to his brow. As Arlo closes in, the captain strikes decisively, unleashing a surge of chi that forms a sword shadow. The onlookers are stunned. This is chi projection, a rare skill even for intermediate warriors. Arlo, caught off guard, is hit by the sword shadow. The impact sends him flying, but thanks to his chi shield, he survives. Wounded and spitting blood, Arlo struggles to his feet, glaring at the captain. "I'll remember this," he mutters before ordering his men to retreat. The battle ends as Arlo and his group limp away. Baldy, Dan, and Red approach the captain, astonished by his mastery of chi projection. They hadn't known he possessed such a rare skill, and Alan is equally surprised, aware of how difficult it is to project chi. Later, back at the inn, the captain offers little explanation for his actions, only mentioning that chi projection wouldn't have been useful during their previous battles. Alan suspects there's more to the captain's story, particularly regarding his strength being stuck at the beginner level despite his talent. Baldy and Dan explain that the conflict had been triggered by their impulsive nature. After some quick bandaging, the group rests. Alan, still focused on improving himself, meditates. However, the smell of alcohol from Dan and Baldy distracts him, so he opens the window to let in fresh air. As he does, he notices a blurry figure disappearing into the night. Was it just my imagination? He wonders, but quickly dismisses the thought, closing the window and resuming his meditation. The next morning, the group prepares to go their separate ways. Despite having fought together, they don't know each other's real names and part without much conversation, leaving only Alan and the captain. "Are you going to train here?" Alan asks. No, it's time for me to move on, the captain replies, his face showing signs of confusion and loneliness, as though carrying a hidden burden. Alan doesn't press for details and simply wishes him well. Before leaving, the captain warns Alan, your arcane abilities are different from others. This might bring you trouble. Be cautious. Alan nods, acknowledging the advice. The captain seems to want to say more but holds back, merely patting Alan on the shoulder before walking away, sword in hand.